Good morning. All right, everybody. Happy Thursday. Kundalini Thursday. I'm happy that you all got up to join me. Practice. We have a really interesting topic today. We're going to talk about the 3 levels of samadhi. If you are familiar with the 8 limbs of yoga as directed by Patanjali, we have the yamas, the niyamas, which are the observances and the restraints in one's own behavior in relation to the outside world. We have asana, which is physical postures, pranayama, which is the breath techniques. And these are the movements in the breath technique that help regulate the individual in order to make that person more present and available in operation with the external world. And then we have what's called pratyahar, which is sense withdrawal. And those are the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 limbs of yoga. I have an itchy dog over here. Why are you itching? Those are the first 5 limbs of yoga, and those are all considered techniques to be related to one's interaction with the external world. And then after pratyahara, which is sense withdrawal, the remaining limbs of yoga are all about cultivating the inner environment, through which you have dharana, which is sort of this cultivation of the meditative space, the meditative state. Dhyana, which is absorption in the meditative space. And then you have samadhi, which is connection of the individual consciousness with universal consciousness. And oftentimes you don't hear too much about the fact that there are 3 levels of samadhi, 3 levels of that connection. And within the 3 levels, it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. So we're going to talk about those deeper levels of samadhi today. I think it's really important, right? Because as we start to connect more to meditative techniques, as we start to connect more to the deeper inner environment of our being, we want to understand what we're experiencing. And what we're experiencing is not anything new. Human beings have been experiencing these absorbed states for thousands and thousands of years. And some of these ancient yogis wrote these experiences down for us to learn from, for us to identify with, for us to kind of understand what's happening and what's going on. So maybe you'll learn a little something that you didn't know today. And if you did already know this, then this is just further kind of further reinforcement of this information. And when you're in these states, then you can kind of after the fact reflect like, oh, wow, I've been, when I go over these states of samadhi, I'd be like, oh yeah, I've been in that state before, right? Like one of which we talk about the first stage of samadhi, seeing colors and things like that. Like I know a lot of you mentioned seeing colors and stuff like that in your meditative space. Well, there you go. You've been there. All right, let's get started. And just a reminder for those of you who practice with me on Saturdays, I won't be live this Saturday. I won't be in person this Saturday because I'll be traveling up to San Francisco for a workshop. I also will not be in town on Sunday or Monday. Sunday Yoga Club, we'll have there's a video, a freshie video already up and available for Sunday's class on the library. And if time suits, I'm also going to make a Monday class available as well. Okay, and then I'll be back live practicing on Tuesday. Last thing I want to mention before we get started, we're starting our next 40-day meditation journey. Early bird registration is open. The journey begins Wednesday, May 31st. We have a little bit of time before it begins again. We're going to be working with the Apsahai Hoa mantra. And the theme of our journey is evolving beyond survival mode. We're going to be working with this great book, Your Survival Instinct is Killing You. We're going to talk about how getting in that contracted state and remaining in that contracted state of fight or flight and survivalism plays tricks on our nervous system, plays tricks on our mind, and puts us in a state of unnecessary suffering often, and how we can override that activated state and bring ourselves back into a state of balance and harmony and put that into practice. So that'll be beginning in a couple weeks. I hope you consider joining. And the early bird rate ends this coming Saturday. So right now it's at 60, and then comes Sunday, it'll rise up just gently to 65. Okay, let's get started. We got some good stuff today, and we got our mantra of the week, which is our beloved Ganesha mantra. I was debating on whether I would talk about Ganesha today and kind of dissect the story of Ganesha and give the deeper meaning behind it, or whether I would talk about the three levels of samadhi. And so I erred on the side of three levels of samadhi, but we will talk about Ganesha someday again soon. I just remember that we had done a Ganesha journey not too long ago, so I may be reminding you of something you already knew anyway. So let me pull up my playlist and we shall begin. Okay, let's rub our hands together, stimulating 72,000 energy channels. Get ourselves in a nice vibrational space by tuning in with Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. I bow to the divine teacher within. And then we tune in with the Mangalacharan mantra, mantra of protection and surrender. Thumbs come into the sternum, shoulders down away from the ears. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose to begin. Guru Dev Guru Dev Guru Dev Namo. Arangre Name, Jagarangre Name, Sat Gure Name, Sri Gurudev Name. Arangre Name, Jagarangre Name, Sat Gure Name, Sri Gurudev Name. Arangre Name, Jagarangre Name, Sat Gure Name, Sri Gurudev Name. Take a deep breath in. Suspend the breath, root lock, third eye. And exhale, release. Good morning, everybody. Hello. Happy to see you all. It's always so nice to connect on Thursdays. Thursday together in Kundalini and 7 a.m. in the morning has such a specific energy. And I have to say, I mean, for the length of time that we've all been doing this, I love how we connect at the end. I love how there's shares and thoughts, and nobody's so rushing to get in back into the operation of their practical life. Not so rushed as to avoid or dismiss the value of our connection after class. I love it, and we've been doing this for so long, long enough where apathy could set in. right? Or the tendency to take that connection for granted or autopilot through it. And there's such just a lovely sensitivity to the sacredness of it that I think this whole group has, not only to gathering, to showing up, to practicing, but also to connecting at the end of class, which is really powerful. So thank you everybody for that. That means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to each one of you as we all connect. Now today I wanted to talk about the three levels of samadhi. As I was mentioning in the intro before I slid back, samadhi is the eighth limb of yoga. Samadhi is the point of culmination, really, as a result of one's practice of yoga. And one's practice of yoga as defined by Patanjali, which incorporates the eight limbs of yoga, right? You may be practicing yoga for 3 years and just doing asana, right? You're not doing any pranayama, you're not connecting to a meditative space, you're not using a tool of meditation. And so yeah, you're practicing asana, but you may not necessarily be practicing the eight limbs of yoga as defined by Patanjali, which cultivates this space. But what's beautiful is that even if you're just practicing asana, for many people, it creates a spark of inspiration. It creates an awakening. It's a seed that says, oh, there's got to be more to this. I feel so great, but there's got to be more. It can't just be, yoga to pop music on a weekend afternoon. There's got to be more to what I'm feeling here. And usually what that does for many people is cause them to seek further. And so then they may participate in yoga teacher training, and they may try out different styles of yoga. And thus the eight limbs presents itself. So with the eight limbs of yoga, you first have the observances and the restraints of one's own behavior in relation to the natural world and living beings, right? The yamas and the niyamas. You have asana, which is the physical posture, pranayama, which is the breath techniques, which prepare the body for connecting to a meditative space. You have pratyahar, which is sense withdrawal, turning the eyes down, taking your senses from being distracted into the outside world and drawing them all inward. Dharana, which is connecting to a meditative space, being able to find oneself into what they would call a one-pointed focus. Dhyana is using a meditative tool to get into a deeper state of connection. And then we have samadhi, which is this state of unification of one's own consciousness with universal consciousness. And as I mentioned, there are 3 levels of samadhi. And today I want to talk to you about those. And I'd love for you to not only, upon hearing that, reflect upon your own experience, but open yourself up to the availability if some of these states have not been accessed by you. Just hearing about them, just knowing about something that you didn't know existed before, opens up a possibility for you to connect with that space. So here we go. The first level of samadhi, which is what most people are familiar with, is called Savikalpa Samadhi. And it's the tendency or the functionality of transcending mental activity, right? Having stillness. Objects of time and space apply differently, right? You can be like, God, it feels like I've been here forever, but it was only 3 minutes. Or it feels like it was just a moment in time and I was in meditation for 2 hours, right? Objects of time and space apply differently. Inward learning, clarity of self, right? Feeling like you might have experienced some sort of a download or some sort of an education just through being in a meditative space, right? Gaining clarity or distance from your issues and your problems and your concerns in the worldly, in the kind of the worldly realm. Having that separation that gives you space of clarity and perspective. Abstract qualities like colors, love, and sound hold deeper meaning, and they intermingle, right? Like sound can have a color, and sound and color can have a feeling, and things like that. It can all be interwoven and have deeper meaning and deeper feeling. You move beyond the intellect with no reasoning or reflection. It's just tranquility, right? You're not so caught up in the rational mind, and rising above the rational mind, really. The second state of samadhi is called nirvikalpa samadhi. This is a higher state where ego, personality, and mental disturbances are dissolved. Only consciousness remains, right? It's as if you gained some sort of leverage in understanding and transcendence beyond your problems and your worldly concerns. The material world has become like a shadow from which you are completely free. Sometimes people speak of, this happens often in breathwork meditations and sound meditations, and even in regular seated silent and mantra meditations, that the material world has become like a shadow from which you are completely free. You feel like you've left your body and you might be floating in space, or you might be having an experience in a different dimension. There is no mind, only blissful awareness. So the mind has been transcended. Now, this is where we get to experiences where it may be more few and far between, where people have the tendency to experience this. And if you've not necessarily experienced this, well, open yourself up to the concept of this, right? This is how we begin expanding our consciousness anyway, is first availing ourselves to the concept, right? The knower and the known become one. The enjoyer and the enjoyment become one. Heart feels larger than the body, right? So this consciousness feels like it's bigger than the actual physical frame of the body. And the third is called Dharma Megha Samadhi. It's also called the cloud of virtue samadhi. It arises when one has transcended the desire to know God or to be enlightened, right? You've transcended desire. You've transcended that desire to reach a highest point of enlightenment, because in many cases you've actually connected to that space. So the desire for it has been transcended. And this cannot be attended by effort. It reveals itself when effort has dissolved. And isn't that the interesting thing? So oftentimes I imagine probably even the desire for enlightenment can probably intercede this process. This is a divine gift, as it said, to connect to this space. This is a karmic evolution for one's personal experience. Not everyone has this, right? And this is something that might be visible in somebody's chart, right? Connecting to this higher potential for spiritual immersion. This is also known as Jivan Mukta, the liberation while still in the body. The yogi becomes free and shines his or her own radiant glory. The yogi sees without eyes, tastes without tongue, hears without ears, smells without nose, and touches without skin. So what that's saying is the senses are no longer something of the body. It's almost as if there's a all-pervading perception, right? The intention in this state mere intention in this state works miracles. Now, this is the stuff that they spoke about with regard to Buddha and Jesus. Mere intention in this state works miracles. If you think about the guru that Ram Dass worked with, God, what is his name? I can't believe I'm forgetting. He would call him the Maharaji, but I forget his, I don't know why it's escaping me. Anyway, I don't want to focus on that because that will just make me angry at myself. Mere intention in this state works miracles. And Ram Dass would often talk about his guru working miracles. right? In the Bible, they speak of Jesus working miracles. You have this powerful intention through your energy and your connection with universal consciousness, where you can intend things, you can make things happen. And they talk about yogis moving through different dimensions and being in different places at the same time. This is the stuff we're talking about. Okay, Paramahansa Yogananda had these qualities that his followers would remark about. And so who knows if we're ever going to be able to access those states, right? These are vibrational frequencies that our current environment doesn't necessarily support. So one's own connection to the divine needs to be extremely strong to not only access that state, but to be able to maintain connection to that state. Who knows, right? Who knows if any of us will be able to access that in this lifetime. However, I do have a strong sense, based on the fact that we're moving into this evolved time, based on the change and the shift of the Piscean age to the Aquarian age, we are all moving collectively and individually into a space where we are accessing more of this energy, more of this possibility. So even if it's not possible for us in our lifetimes, it might be possible for the younger members of our family, or as we come back, as we reincarnate, we've done this work in this lifetime, perhaps it's going to make itself available to us. But again, grasping too tightly to those intentions can also offset their potential, right? So just riding the ride and enjoying the connection and the interest that we have in our practice for yoga, and the availability to see what it cultivates within us. And those beautiful moments where we access these states of samadhi, whether it's that first level, second level, or eventually, hopefully, perhaps, maybe even that third level. All right, let's start with our Sufi circles. Hands are on the shins, eyes are drawn up to third eye center. I have a nice little Kriya set for you guys today, and then we have our mantra of the week, the Ganesha mantra. Neem Karoli Baba. Thank you. That's his name. All right, guys. And learning about this stuff, I think, is so powerful, because I think oftentimes the epitome of what we've been taught as far as achievement in one's lifetime is just riches and power and things. And when you start to learn about yoga, you realize, wow, the epitome of potential is really what the soul desires in this incarnation. And maybe the soul does not necessarily desire power or things or success in the material realm. Maybe the soul's motivation in this particular lifetime is to connect to the source of creation. And in that context, yoga is extremely appealing. Rolling forward and back, eyes at third eye. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. We're balancing the lowest energy center. We got 4, 3, 2, hold center on the 1 in reverse. Inhale and putting a smile on your face, connecting to something you're grateful for in your heart. Let's go for 4, 3, 2, 1. Come hold center, spinal flex, forward and back. 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, lift high through the crown of the head. Exhale, shoulders down away from the ears. And let's sweep through the energy fields. Take the bend out of the elbows. Lateral flexion through the spine. Inhale as you rise. Exhale as you sweep through the field. So beautiful how just maybe starting with the practice of asana, which is where most people start, and how it can germinate the seed of spiritual connection within us to the degree that you start to experience these things in samadhi. Start to transcend into a spiritual identity. Let's go for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Reach arms high. Inhale. Hinge and bow forward. Let's come onto tabletop. Inhaling, chin and tail. Exhaling, round, tuck and dome. Chin and tail, suspend the breath. Exhale, round, tuck and dome. Come back seated. All right. Today's Kriya set, we're working with the glands. With the glands in the body, and the glands, both lymph glands and all sorts of other glands in the body, have this ability not only to promote immunity, but also keep balance in the body. When we are working with evolving ourselves consciously, when we're working with evolving ourselves spiritually, the physical body of the human being has everything within it to bring ourselves to the state of the potential for enlightenment, right? Everything that needs to be present for that potentiality in the body to cultivate that state exists, right? Absent our choices, our mindset, our actions, our beliefs, all of those things. But whatever needs to physically happen, energetically, chemically, all of those things in the body, it's already within us at birth. And so when we start to work with things like the glands and the nervous system, we are priming the body for evolution. And then when we connect, when we talk, when we chant, we are working on the quality of mind and intellect and emotion in order to prime the system even further at that level of energy. So let's start. Before we begin the Kriya set itself, I'd like to just do a little meditation to get us into not only a positive state of prosperity, but also into a nice, relaxed, meditative, receptive space. Now we're going to do a prosperity mantra where we're kind of hitting the pinky mound of the hand together here, and then the index finger mound right atop. So it almost looks as if we are coasting our hands over an invisible sphere as we chant the mantra. Had, 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 hand, 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 hand. Let the tongue hit the roof of the mouth, right behind the teeth. We have a little meridian point there that connects directly to the glands in the brain. Hypothalamus, pituitary, pineal glands. Hand, 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 hand. Just a minute longer. Hand, 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 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Now inhale. Suspend the breath. Keep the hands cupped at the chest. Exhale, release. Reach those arms up. 60 degrees. Let's come into ego eradicator. Fingers pull into the palms. Thumbs drag toward each other. Shoulders down away from the ears. Let's pump the belly. Breath of fire. the breath, join thumb tips to touch, reach the fingers to the sky, hold the breath. Keep the posture, exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Hands come down to the energy field. Round the fingertips. Get these glands working, operating in balance. Let's take the thumbs, right? You have this little flap of cartilage right on the outer kind of ridge of your ear, right? It's not your earlobe. If you kind of crest in front of the earlobe and move up about an inch, there's this little divot of cartilage. You're going to press your thumbs right onto that cartilage. Hands, rest of the fingers come up onto the top of the head, okay? Inhale, twist left. Exhale, twist right. Maybe this closes off your ears a little bit, and that's okay. Keep a nice straight spine. Inhaling and exhaling. Good, keep with me, 30 more seconds. It can feel a little challenging. I encourage you to move through any resistance. Embrace the experience for all of its fullness. Last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and inhale, hold center, suspend. Exhale, relax and release. Palms face up on the knees, take a moment. Gently blink the eyes open. Palms are facing each other, elbows are bent. We're taking the arms up and down. Bring the elbows right into the ribs. Breath of fire. Eyes are closed, drawn up to third eye center once you get the cueing. Put a smile on your face if it feels authentic to do so. If the invitation feels good. Now we're charging up that energy field around the body. We're really opening up the energy of the 4th chakra, heart center, 5th chakra, throat center. You may also feel some stimulation in that 3rd chakra, solar plexus. Keep those eyes up at third eye center for 30 more seconds. We keep going. Last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2, 1. Reach the arms up. Inhale. Suspend. Root lock, third eye. Exhale. Take a rounded Om out. The next set. Inhaling and exhaling through an Om out. Working all of the glands and the lymph nodes in and around the underarms, breast, and even the neck, right? Cupped hands. Eyes at third eye, inhaling and exhaling through an Om out. Nice free swinging, easy, and loose in the shoulders. This is one of the reasons why asana or kriya and pranayama are so important, because we take advantage of what's available within the human body physically to help us connect to our highest spiritual potential. We're cultivating our environment physically for the highest potential of spiritual expression. Last 10, 9, 8, keep breathing, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold the arms up over the back of the head, suspend the breath. And exhale. That's part of this kriya. We're going to do little arm pumps. So we're going to take the thumbs inside of the fingers. Fingers wrap around. We're going to pulse 1, down, up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So it's center, down, and up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Once you have the rhythm, regulate the breath to accommodate the movements, and then close the eyes down. If you overthink it, you'll be stutter stepping. Just maybe count to yourself. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. Reach it up, stretch the fingers to the sky. Inhale. Exhale, hands come down through the energy field and rest for a moment. Hands in Gyan Mudra. All right, yoga friends in meditation. Let's get ready for our mantra of the week. Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. Ganesha is the child of Shiva and Parvati. And Ganesha didn't always have an elephant head. He was born a boy, just like any other boy. And one day Parvati brought Ganesha down to the river with her so she could bathe, and he would guard to make sure nobody came down. He had never met his father, Shiva. So when Shiva came down to go visit Parvati, Ganesha prevented him from going to see her because he was to stand guard. And Shiva cut off his head. And then once Shiva realized who Ganesha was, his son, he replaced his head with an elephant head. Now that's how the story goes. And you're like, what the heck? How did... The deeper story behind that, and I'm shortcutting it, but there's a message, a deeper message in all of these. Now, first of all, Parvati going down to bathe, that is the beginning of one's spiritual practice, right? When one wants to cultivate a relationship with the divine, there must be an initiation for purification of mind, body, and spirit. So this is what Parvati's bathing at the river was symbolic of. Ganesha is guarding the sanctity and the sacredness of that process for her. Shiva comes down to bring enlightenment to Ganesha and cuts off his head from preventing him to interfere. The cutting off the head is the symbolism of the cutting off of the ego over affiliation. One's head gets cut off, one's egoic preoccupation gets disassociated. And then with that comes wisdom. And the elephant in Hindu mythology is always embodied the symbolism of wisdom. So when the head was cut off, it was replaced with the head of the elephant, which is the head of wisdom, the Godhead. Now, Ganesha in his own embodiment has his own symbolisms as well, which we've gone over before in the past, and I'm happy to go over again at another time. But in the interest of time, let's take that little nugget of mythology and bring it with us as we chant Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. He is the protector of the first chakra, the guardian of the Kundalini energy at the base of the spine. He is the remover of obstacles and the blesser of new beginnings.
Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
Hands in Gyan Mudra.
Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. गणपतये नमः ॐ गं 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 गणपतये नमः
2 more rounds.
ॐ गं गणपतये नमः ॐ गणपतये नमः ॐ गं गणपतये नमः ॐ गं गणपतये नमः
Gently come laying down on your backs.
ॐ गं गणपतये नमः
Or if you prefer to stay seated in meditation, that's all right too.
ॐ गं गणपतये नमः ॐ गं गणपतये नमः
Drink lots of water today. Whatever you can do to kind of contribute to the cleansing process that we initiated today with the lymph glands. Eat some green vegetables, nothing too heavy. Drink lots of fluids. Maybe take some vitamins. Let yourself relax into the floor. All your muscles and joints relax. Jaw softens, tongue relaxes in the mouth. Gently wiggling your fingers and your toes. Draw your knees into your chest. Wrap your forearms around your shins and rock from side to side. Let didn't work. Let's try it again. Roll onto one side into fetal position. Using the top hand, press yourself up seated, cross leg. Hands come to the heart center. Let's pull a card this morning. A lot of interesting topics discussed today. Let's see what the card has to offer. The card says, ponder what you want. Don't view rejection or uncertainty as all negative. Timing may be out of alignment with your intention. Use this time to gain a better understanding of the situation and contemplate what you truly want. This may be a chance for an optimal turn of events. We forget that, right? We forget that, oh, things aren't working the way I want them to. The whole world is going to hell. Like, you know, it's like we forget that there's someone else in charge. We forget that what we want and what we are endeavoring for doesn't necessarily align with what the universe has in store for us. And oftentimes the universe has in store for us exactly what we need, and probably more than we could ever want, if we just surrender a little bit and trust. Let's bring our hands to the heart center. Take a deep breath in, and we tune out with 1 round of the long time sun, 3 rounds of Satnam in Hare Ramakrishna. Take a deep breath in through the nose to begin. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way on. Satnam. 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 Hare Ramakrishna, Hare Ramakrishna, Hare Ramakrishna. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Suspend it. Bring folded hands to third eye. Blessing that you'll be guided by intuition and have the wisdom and the courage to follow it. Exhale, bowing forward. Satnam. Namaste. Thank you, everybody. What a pleasure to practice with you this morning. I hope you enjoyed our talk about 3 levels of samadhi and the little nugget of wisdom about Ganesha. Don't forget, we have our 40-day meditation journey coming up very, very soon. It starts on May 31st, so it's not this coming Wednesday, but it's the last Wednesday of the month. And early bird registration ends this Saturday. I'm going to end the video. Goodbye, video friends. And those who can stick around, I'd love to chat.